Welcome everyone to Obsidian Office Hours, where we talk about all things Obsidian, and honestly, we talk about a lot of things on this show. And for today, I'm really excited because, well, we got a lot going on. Because if you haven't heard, the insider build for version 0.13 has been released, and it comes with a pretty exciting surprise inside. So I say, let's go ahead and jump right in and start nerding out about Obsidian, shall we? All right, switching it over to the screen. Okay, let's kick it off. So, version 0.13 is a minor release, but more importantly, I gotta clarify this, it is an insider build. And what do I mean by insider build? Well, I mean that it's not available to the public yet. So if you happen to be a VIP supporter, or I think I'm Catalyst, so I get that automatically, but you get access to basically the preview build. And so while that sounds like, oh cool, I get access to that, just remember that means you're also getting an experimental build, which means sometimes things break. So if you're one of those people who likes living on the edge a bit and getting to try things out when it first comes out, by all means, definitely be sure to support the project. You'll get access to it, but at least this gives you a preview of what's coming. So Red Rambles, picks or it didn't happen. Oh, picks of this. Actually, I think we do have a recording of that. Honestly, I probably should turn my rant about how to do keynote animations and all that stuff into its own YouTube video, to be honest. But that is for another time. Okay, so with 0.13, there is a lot basically in here. I'm going to skip the top one because honestly, that is a lot of what we'll be talking about. There's a lot of different improvements as far as WebP support, Obsidian Sync. And as you can see down here, a lot of things have been fixed as far as little bugs. But once again, Obsidian offers this to me about talking about the highlights and the things that I think are worth surfacing for your attention so that you can keep an eye on it in the future. And so, all right, let's do this, shall we? This thing right here, live preview mode, in other words, known as WYSIWYG mode. And for those who don't know what that acronym stands for, it's what you see is what you get. In other words, it's what most of us are used to when we're actually working in documents. So I think the easiest example of this is, let me queue up Notion. Dun dun dun. Okay, and then, come on. All right, new workspace, perfect. Here we have a brand new Notion document, and when I type in here, you'll see that my heading 1, this is my title. If I type something bold, it looks bold, and then I can turn off bold, and this is not bold. Oh wait, I didn't turn it off in time apparently. So basically, as you can see, it's really what we're used to in Word. And more importantly, when you start doing more fancier things like I want to do a callout block, right? It already looks pretty. You don't have to do anything raw with it. This is my callout box. And so this is really nice, and this has become kind of the default mode that people have come to expect when it comes to editing documents. The only problem is, well, by problem, I mean one of the weaknesses of Obsidian is that this mode was not available to us. So let's go ahead and switch over to Obsidian. Here I have my notes, and as you can see here, what I'm in right now is what is called basically editor mode. So those who have been using it are familiar with it. I turn on line numbers to give me more of that sort of VS Code kind of feel, because really you're basically writing raw code. Everything in here will eventually be translated. So here's my H1, here's my H2, here is a code block, for example. And so if I split this, let me go ahead and hide the sidebar actually, and switch it over to preview mode, this is what more people are expecting when they usually type things these days, right? That it already looks like the title case, the H2 is already very styled nicely. And then in here, here's a great example of where the editor mode is a lot more annoying than the preview mode, is that when I'm doing links for things like this, you really want it to show up like this, but when you're in the editor mode, you see everything, right? So it can be a lot of noise when you're looking at your notes. And so again, another good example of this, actually, let me switch over, is so when you're doing snippets, for example, right? So here you can see, code blocks. Here's my code blocks for the data view.js. As you can see, a lot of raw JavaScript being rendered on the screen. But then when I go ahead and switch to preview mode, it looks very nice, right? You can see you have my table. These are all the Obsidian Office Hours things. And I've done little nice icons for it. And so that's great. But then basically there's a disconnect at this point between what looks good and then what is basically raw. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you the new live preview mode. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up my settings. And inside of and so in case you're doing the insider build, this is how you would do it. Inside of about, you'll see that the current version here, it'll tell you what the installer version is, which is basically the stable release. You can hit check for updates, and then you need to turn on the insider mode, which is right. Wait, that's my license account. Wait, I had it. Oh, did it? Wait, where'd it go? I had it. Automatic updates, yes. Help, license, hardware acceleration. No. Editor? Line wrap, experimental. Dang it. There is a config for experimental mode. Anyways, okay. Basically, I believe the insider build is something you actually can opt into. I don't know why I can't find it right now, but it's somewhere in the settings. So otherwise, let's go into what really matters, which is the experimental mode. So all the way down here, you'll notice this experimental live preview mode in beta. Ooh. Oh, sorry. So Deathless not here at the bottom. Yes, experimental live preview is on the bottom. I was referring to opting into insider's build. Because just because you have access to insider build doesn't mean you necessarily want to use it. Like at one point I disabled insider's build because it like broke something pretty bad. So oh okay, thank you. I thought I was like I was like, I am hallucinating. I could have sworn there was a switch somewhere. Okay, very good. So if I'm not mistaken, if you're on your stable build, you'll notice that inside of about, I think it should be under here. There's basically a way for you to opt into the insider build. So thanks, Lee, for letting me know. I was about to be like, oh gosh, I totally forgot. Or anyways. All right, so with that said, okay. So you can opt into it, and then I'm not really worried about it. Everything's been working just fine, so not a big deal that that's been toggled on. All right, so let's do it. Experimental live preview, beta. So you see, I'll go ahead and turn on that switch, and then we see this here in pink, requires a restart to take effect. So let's go ahead and do it. So I'm going to Command Q to quit that, and then let's fire it right back up. And then, whoa, it looks quite different. First of all, we'll notice that the sizing is starting to be a little bit off. Why? And this makes sense because it's actually starting to reflect the stylings of said titles. So for example, this here, this is my H1. And you'll notice that when I mouse over it, actually shows basically the hashtag that indicates the markdown. But so I would say that in a WYSIWYG mode, the line numbers, well, one, the styling needs to be fixed, but two, I don't know if it's as useful. So I'm going to go ahead and just disable line numbers right now because, well, it just, the weird alignment between everything makes it a bit rough. Oh, live update to 0.13.1. Say what? Okay. I think Leakhead here with the clutch. All right, here we go. A new version's ready to install. Let's do this. 0.13.1. I'm going to have to update the about. All right, let's do it. Okay, so we check it out. Hey, 0.13.1, and check it out right here. Receive insider build. See, I remembered it. It was in the right section. So here's the automated update. So again, you can take it off if you're not ready to live on the edge. But in the meantime, that option is available for you. All right. So first thing first, we're going to go ahead and move the line numbers from the preview mode because I think that is a little bit distracting because the alignment's not totally there. Cassidy, live user testing. Yes, live user testing. All right, so a couple of things here. You know what? I'm not going to do this page is kind of busy. Let's go back to my Obsidian Office Hours, this one. All right, so first thing first, my Obsidian Office Hour actually looks pretty clean. You'll see that here my titles up here. I don't have to see, like, again, when I'm editing something, I see the raw markdown that you would come to expect when you're typing Obsidian, like you're writing markdown in Obsidian. But the moment I'm actually just, my mouse is away from the cursor, or my cursor is away from the text, it's nice and it looks good. So this is very exciting. So as we can see here, there's a little bit something funky going on with code blocks. I mean, that was very that was very obvious a second ago, and I'll dive into that in a little bit. But let's take a look here. Okay, so ecosystem updates. This is what's a little bit interesting to me. It's kind of hiding itself. Like it's almost like the renderer. So here is a standard markdown link. I'm a little surprised though, because I'm pretty sure this does work the way I want it to. So I go Google and then www.google.com. That renders exactly as you want. That's the link. But it looks like with the auto formatting, for whatever reason, this, oh, there's a checkbox. Oh, it doesn't like the checkbox. Oh, okay. All right, that's fine. Remember, we are in beta, so big disclaimer. We are in beta right now. There's still a lot of feedback to be given, but it looks like the indented checkbox is not quite showing up accurately. So that's something, you know what? Let's make a note because we want to help the team, right? So notes we can do, feedback for experimental live preview mode. So indented checkboxes interfere with rendering of links. Hello, Jimena. How's it going? All right, so let's see here. Same deal here. You'll see that it's currently, like, if I'm not mistaken, the render is just looking for the square brackets. And so because the square brackets also represents the checkbox, I think that's where the bug is. So that would be my guess. So there we go. This is much cleaner. Oh, look at that. That is beautiful. Okay, ecosystem updates. This is good. And then if I check this, there you go. Oh, look at the checkbox is nice and pretty. They did a great job. Oh, that looks so good. The other thing that makes me really excited about this too, by the way, is that the emojis render correctly all the time now. Because I used to have to, like, when I would do things like phone, for example, if in the editor mode, it would default to like the monospace one, which was just like a really boring icon. And so all the icons work exactly as you expect now in live preview mode, which is a very small bonus, but I'm very happy about it because I use emojis a lot for indicating things. So, well, Jimena, I'm waving at you. Hello. Missing. Oh, I'm missing a space after the checkbox. Okay, hang on. So let's try this again. So if I indent, nope, that didn't work. Let me, oh, that didn't work. Let me indent. I think this is correct. This is my task. It looks like it's still here, but if I yeah, it looks like the looks like LeakCat. It doesn't look like the, like if I indent the task, you'll notice that the checkbox doesn't appear a second time. So maybe it's just like indented checkboxes aren't rendering correctly. Okay, so that's that. So, okay, so for whatever reason, indented checkbox does not work right now, which is totally fine. Then we can just do this and we can say Obsidian typing plugin, wrap that, and oh, look at that. And then it has the beautiful icon to indicate that it's a URL that's going on. Like, this is, oh man, this is great. I'm so excited for this. Edit plugin. I'm gonna just play around with this a little bit more. Okay, great. This part right here, let me delete this. All right, excellent. Okay, great. So I see discussions about people using Bear and looking at Obsidian. I'm gonna say Burgeons is gonna. I'm gonna try to pronounce it. So yeah, so actually similar to Cassie, I was using Bear for a while, and then I think we went from Bear to Rome, and then from Rome to Obsidian. So honestly, yeah, a lot of things that I've loved about the previous things Obsidian does so well, and once again, the ability to own your data outright in the form of markdown files is, for me, something I'm always forever grateful for. So huge thanks to LeakCat, Silver, and the team for all their hard work on this. All right, so what else do we got? Well, we have actual like rendered bullets here. Actually, it looks like indented bullets aren't even rendering the way I would think. Because the indented bullets here, you'll see that they actually didn't get converted to a list style. They're actually still, so it looks like indented lists in general are not rendering correctly. So that's the thing. But let's see, what other things can we test? Well, I mean, so we can bold stuff. Let's try bolding that. Ooh, that was nice. I did Command B. That bolded, and I can like italicize this. Oh, that is very nice. I like that very much. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. Okay. I am using tab size 2. Is that the thing, LeakCat? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, I'm hitting tab. All right, hey, let's try it. What's the worst that'll happen? Doesn't like less than 3? Oh, I haven't run into that before, but hey, I'm flexible. I can, as an editor, I think, has the tab size. Here we go, tab size. So I have it at 2. Let me do it to 4. Okay. So now let me do that. Oh, this suddenly looks better. Okay, so interesting. So that's good. Oh, okay, that must be it. Okay, so yeah, LeeCat, excellent, great debugging on that end. It looks like it's a 4 spacer thing. That's kind of, it's kind of big now. Oh, interesting. The preview mode actually looks different from the live, like the WYSIWYG mode, which I guess makes sense. Does it? Let me see. This is preview mode. This is edit mode. Well, I guess my themes are a little bit different though. So the CSS is changing. So I would have to. So one of the things for the Night Owl theme, I'll have to eventually update it to match the new one. But okay, it looks like it's looking good here. So I'll say that. Okay, so we figured out the problem. But here's the thing though. So LeeCat, the only thing I'm thinking of is that if people are like me are using 2 spaces, like they're used to it from a JavaScript, for example, that might. I wonder if there's a way to customize the Markdown renderer to be more sensitive to that, because we do like there is that default option. So, anyways, that's part of the feedback. So I see indentation of lists that are less than 4 space. Actually, okay, you know what? We're live testing, right? Let's help the team out. All right, I 2 did not work. Let's try 3 real quick. 4 down to 3. All right, so it looks like 3 is okay. Yup. 3, it was happy with 3. Okay, so it looks like LeeCat's hypothesis. Oh, wait, hang on. 1, nope. 2, nope. Did not like it. 3, nope. Comment mark spec list item consists of multiple paragraphs, 4 spaces or 1 tab. We could make a render allow 2 spaces without break other apps working Markdown, expecting it to be proper Markdown. Okay, that is a tricky conundrum then. To LeeCat's point, if we're saying that the Markdown spec is expecting the 4 space tab, that is, yeah, I wonder. Yeah, so I guess either that or I think it's maybe time to maybe force people then to like maybe change the indentation. I was gonna say using CSS, but that's kind of tricky. So maybe honestly, maybe just default people to 4 and just tell them it's Markdown spec, and then I guess it could maybe with the WYSIWYG actually tell people to control their tab size, because otherwise I feel like I will not be the only one running into this. Yeah, so this is pretty. That looks good. Not a big deal, but we should, yeah, probably important to figure that out. Rendering for less than 4 space indentation. So some sort of solution needs to exist, I think, for the WYSIWYG. I totally understand LeeCat as far as like making sure that like allowing the renderer to allow for 2 spaces, but then like not conforming with specs. So yeah, I think my thought would be just to make the default 4 then, or like don't let people go below. I think that'll be easier. And then if there's a way to control display, like for me, because I'm used to like this is pretty aggressive for me, I would say, like as far as like 4 spaces, like I don't need my list to be that indented. So I think it'll probably be a matter of figuring out that balance. Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, appreciate you hanging out here. It's been great. Okay, so we have this. Actually, you know what? Since in case I have your attention for just like 5 minutes more, this is the one thing actually I do think that I want to cover, because I have actually a question about this. Here we have the data view that I showed you earlier, but we'll notice inside of here that the code blocks right now it's not that they're lacking syntax highlighting, because if I add the JS here, you'll notice that it is kind of doing the highlighting, but for whatever reason though, it's overriding whatever it used to be before. So for those who remember, like according to the theme that I have, everything should render correctly, but that is happening. But the other thing, as like, I guess as a small feedback, although it's not really, this is more separate feedback for code blocks, is that one of the things we notice is that like, especially with something like data view.js, we know that it's going to be JavaScript. So a question of how we can maybe like just append an additional language to determine like if you can't find it, to just like go down the list and the first one it hits would be, okay, great. So this line break is a bug, but it would be nice if we could get the, anyways, if we get the code block to recognize that, like, if you don't recognize the first language, maybe check the second language. I don't know if it serializes what's in here. I believe it does. But anyhow, just like a small piece. So I'll just mention like allow users to define language after code block unique marker. Because I know that a lot of plugins in Obsidian right now use like the ability to like, or sorry, they require you to like put their identifier as the first one. So in this case, data view.js. But then, oh yeah, that would be great too. So LeeCat, I'm happy to DM you on Discord and learn more about this stuff and help y'all with this, because I would certainly love to help with this stuff, because usually on like the last stream, we have to usually like switch it in and out to get it to work. So anyhow, yeah, that's great. Okay, so as you can see though, this actually is editor mode. So again, we're in beta preview mode. So the plugins don't render yet. So this is like, basically it's an aspect that still needs to be addressed, but that's, looks like all my indentation got funky. But anyhow, so this is great. So we got the live preview mode, and yeah, so honestly, I have been using live preview mode since it's been released, and so far it's actually been really great. The ability to actually, like, for example, if I want to refer to Obsidian Office Hours, and then let's say I want to refer to the series, but then I only want to refer to it by like 000 series, for example. Like, it's so nice to have my alias immediately get respected and to show. It makes for a much cleaner editing or like viewing experience for parsing data. Because before this, it was like just a bunch of data just constantly spewing everywhere. And I honestly, I do spend a lot of time in editor mode. So I'm very happy to see the team do such a wonderful job as far as that. So, so I have here a comment from Shabagam. The plugin can define a syntax highlighting. I think Templater does this. Well, I might have to look into that then, because whatever I can do to help DataView get this fixed. I know a lot of people are using the DataView.js API, so it would be nice for us to get this up and running. So it is good. Yes. So preview mode has honestly been great. I'm trying to think of anything else really that's kind of discussing. Let's double check real quick. Let's go inside of the forum, take a look at the release notes. Live preview, not implemented yet. So markdown link syntax, latex, HTML blocks, custom code. Yep. So as you can see, these are things that are coming down the line. Checklist will be replaced by checkbox. Great. Yeah. So that's basically it. Oh, there was one thing that was a little bit weird I did notice. It's honestly to be expected, but let's say that I'm creating a new person note. So let's say at John Doe. Apparently I have a John Doer. I don't know. Oh, hey, that's new. I did not expect that. All right, that must be part of... Well done, team. For those, to explain what I wanted to say, is that when you had an empty image that did not have something that was created, it basically just disappeared. So imagine if what you saw on the screen was this. And the only way to know that you actually had it was to accidentally hover over it. But clearly, again, the team being as amazing as it is, someone had already identified that. And this is a great prompt to let people know, like, hey, there's a placeholder picture that I want to put. And so let's see, what is the create dialog? I'm kind of curious now. Oh, wait, no, I'm confused. Profile picture. The create button is acting a little funny. 1, 2, 3. Let's see, John. How many John Doers did I just create? Okay, so John Doer itself. Oh. Okay, interesting. That's what happened. So it automatically embedded. Whoa, that's a new syntax I wasn't expecting. This is like a markdown link, but it didn't. That's really surprising. Hold up. That works? Oh, it doesn't have autocomplete. Okay. I was going to say, because then you're saying that if I include it like this, drop off this, that works. Huh. So does this mean that it just includes notes in general? So if I'm just like Obsidian Office Hours series, that works. Huh. Okay, that is actually kind of neat. But interestingly enough, though, when you actually use the brackets, well, it kind of makes sense that the parser doesn't get it. It's not here. So the only reason why I have a slight problem with this, though, is that with this syntax here, right, it's embedding the document, which is fine. That's great. But this does mean that if I update this to 123, it's updating the backlinks. I don't think it's going to touch this one. Yep, it did not touch that one. And so if you're wondering, to contrast this, if I have like a tp.file include that I'm like Obsidian Office Hours series, like this is a counter example, then now if I switch this to Obsidian Office Hours and I remove the 123, it should go through, pop everything off. That works the way I want it to. But while this is available, I mean, it's useful to know, but I would like... okay, Lee here. Markdown image embeds syntax is translated to WikiLink embeds. Okay. Yeah. Again, one of my favorite features of Obsidian is its ability to pass references to documents so that when you update it once, it just goes out and does everything everywhere. So not in this particular, because this is clearly about the Markdown syntax renderer, but I've noticed that in some plugins, for example, they'll only like let you pass in strings, and I much prefer this kind of syntax where, as you can see here, you can pass the reference of the document, and that way in the future, as you're managing things going forward, it's just one place and it propagates everywhere. So the easiest example of this, if you're wondering, is if I'm looking at my back map, I've started just actually including references to the date, like to the actual snippets. So I haven't done it for like all this stuff yet. But what's nice about this is now going forward, if I'm like, oh, my date attribute template, which I'm actually starting to change, I actually don't want to call them attributes anymore. I just want to call them blocks. Like I managed it in one place and you can see, boom, updated over here. So really like that. I'm glad that Templater allowed us to do that. So kudos to them. Okay, so, oh, interesting. Okay, Leakat here. So I think it's not updating because you aren't encoding the spaces as properly. Okay, so if I go back to John, oh wait, it's right there. John Doer here. I'm not sure how I would encode it though. All right, so let's delete this and let's embed Obsidian. You're saying to, because I'm not encoding the spaces correctly? I'm kind of curious. Because I would assume that when I just hit space, it would just get encoded automatically. But maybe I'm missing something here. Because if I just add 1, 2, 3 here, that should rename. That should break everything. Although, did it track it? 1, 2, 3. Oh, the reference is still there. So that's interesting. Let me make sure that's not a caching thing. John Doer. There we go. Now it's gone. Okay, so it was cached, and so the reference was updating. That's why we got that. Interesting. I wonder what that encoding thing is, but not a big deal. Markdown links require spaces to be encoded as... Oh, that's what you're referring to. Okay. So let's see if that changes. Okay, if that's the case, I am game. So then we should do this, like this, like this. Okay, so this is clearly still embedding correctly. I should be able to update that. That updates here. Then 1, 2, 3. That did track. Oh. Okay, you learned something new. Okay, so that does work. I do like the autocomplete though, I will say. Okay, so Leakat here with the recommendation, try disabling wiki links in settings, file links to create an embed. Okay, so file settings, files and links, confirm Zettelkasten, use wiki links, disabling wiki links. Okay. So auto-generate instead of markdown images. Markdown links instead. Okay, so I'm going to disable this. And then create an embed. Okay, here we go. So, Obsidian Office Hours series. Oh, yep. Yep. So now if I go Obsidian Office Hours 21. Yep. Whew. Yeah. I definitely prefer the wiki links y'all are doing because this is noisy, and I can't even imagine if we had if I had a more complicated thing, right? Like this is my comma note with exclamation and at and plus symbols. So those are all valid file names. If I try to now embed said thing, I wonder if it's gonna try to encode it all. This is my note. Yup. Oh, well, I guess here's the plus. Here's the at. Did the comma get? Nope, that was wrong. Okay, so only the spaces got encoded. It's there for compatibility interop, but yeah, it's ugly. We are in agreement on that. Okay, so cool. Good to know, but I think I will definitely stick with the wiki links going forward. Much better. Much prettier. So now I can do this is my note. Look at that. It's so elegant. I'm so happy with this. Okay, cool. So this note, I don't need any more deleting, and John Doerr is that. Actually, I have a bunch of John Doers I need to now delete. All right, so now delete current file, delete current file, delete current file. All right, there we go. Excellent. All right, so we've done a lot with 13. Honestly, I think that's basically the most of what I wanted to cover. So obviously, once again, this is an insider build, but once again, very excited for what's coming. As we can see, even with just the experimental live preview, a lot of it is working already as expected out of the box, and it's only a matter of time to see what else starts to integrate. And I think this, for me, I think the WYSIWYG is the final piece of the puzzle that will, I think for me, push me over the edge in terms of like really starting to evangelize Obsidian to those who might have been more hesitant, I think, with like just having to deal with the editor mode. Because, for example, a lot of people I know like really enjoy things like Notion, for example. So the fact that things like this are starting to come down the pipe, and then we're going to see, I'm sure with the live preview mode, we'll see a lot more integrations and plugins. So very, very excited. So LeeCat and team, thanks so much to the Obsidian team for the amazing work with WYSIWYG. Again, even with just the preview, I'm already super excited by what I'm seeing and can't wait to tinker around more with it, see what's coming, and then update all the themes. I think the themes will get a lot of updates going forward to account for this new WYSIWYG mode once people start using it. So actually, on that note, LeeCat, if you're still there, is there a hook for knowing that someone's using live preview? Because I was hoping that like in the HTML or the body, there'd be something like indicates that live preview is on, so that for people, like they could still use the same theme without like having to switch out one specifically for live preview. But anyways, if there's a hook somewhere that I don't know about, I'll ask on Discord. But that's something that I did notice because I was trying to update my theme a little bit earlier and realized I couldn't find an obvious hook for people using the live preview mode. So maybe that's something we can do in the future. Okay, that's it. Got it. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, mod CM6. Thank you for letting me know. Actually, I'm just gonna make a note of that. Why am I gonna try to remember that? Note theme development for WYSIWYG mod CM6. Actually, let's take a look. Does the inline look good? Yeah, inline looks great. Mod CM6 is the new editor. V5 is the old one. All right. Excellent. So with that, let's move on to Obsidian Roundup. So basically, this is from Eleanor Connick, where we get to talk about what's kind of happening inside of the community. So a couple of important things. So as you all might have guessed, as we talk about dates inside of Obsidian, especially because it's just plain text, this means that it would be kind of nice if all our plugins adhere to a same sort of date standard API amongst the plugins. So there is a basically discussion on here about that and how to hopefully help people move forward rather than everyone sort of implementing their own date implementation. As far as other highlights go, let's see. If you're using the mobile app for Obsidian, version 1.0.5 Insider is out. Actually, I think it's just out for public already. So, be sure to get the updates. Check out the changelog if you have any questions. But there's actually, so there's a lot of different plugins as usual. Again, I'm not going to walk through everything. So what I wanted to do for this stream in particular is let's go through some new plugins that have been mentioned in here, as well as some of the ones that's kind of been a bit on my backlog, so we can show people what are the kind of things that the ecosystem is in the midst of developing. So let's go ahead and start. So the first one we're going to start with, I'm going to go ahead and close this now. Ba-bum-bum-bum. All right. We're going to look at the Obsidian. Wait. This one. This is the first one I want to do. All right. File Explorer Note Title. All right. So what is this one? At first, I didn't quite understand what it was. After reading it over, I realized, okay, I think I got it now. So basically, one of the, call it limitations with Obsidian is that you're usually bound to whatever the file name is for displaying things. So the most common example of this actually is on publish. So if we go to publish on my site, and then we take a look at the Obsidian Office Hours here, you'll see that right now it's basically this thing is being fed by the file name directly, which means if you want to change it, you have to go sort of do some magic to kind of work around it sometimes, especially with publish. And more importantly, if you're talking about things like, actually I forgot, why is this, I need to delete this piece. Okay, if we're talking about the local graph, for example, you also notice you're also bound by whatever the file names are inside of the graph. But what if you wanted to display something differently? Because one of the limitations of having everything be via the file name is that you have actual character limitations that just are either illegal in certain operating systems. And so, that's so pretty. I didn't mean to do that on purpose, but that's the live updating of the graph that we saw there. So what this does is rather than have it basically be something that's relying purely on the file name, it allows us to swap it out for a different attribute, which I'm actually kind of excited about. So let's go ahead and just install this because I think this is something I would actually want to use. So if we go inside of our community plugins, let's go ahead and browse for this plugin. It's called File Explorer Title. There we go, right here. All right, so we're just going to install this. All right, so we've successfully, and let's go ahead and enable it. And then did that work? File Explorer Titles. Yep, excellent. Okay, shows the first markdown header of a note in the File Explorer. So if you look over to the side now and take a look, let's see. So the easiest way to look at this is probably, oh, check that out. It actually already works. It's actually already doing its thing. Because you'll see that actually for my H1, it's this emoji with inbox. But it actually, even though the file name has the parentheses with the numbers, it actually is respecting the emoji, which I'm actually really happy about because the emojis were one of those things I have been reluctant to use in file names only because I know that with systems like Dropbox and other ones, it's been a little bit funky in terms of syncing. So now that this plugin is enabled, this is pretty darn cool. Hold on. If I read the title correctly, I can say my test title. Is that going to do it? If I read the docs correctly, let's find out. It said that it would take title or first header. Okay. Oh, you can turn off the source in any of the settings. Okay. I get it. So if I go to command comma, go to note title rewrite, where is that? File? Wait. File Explorer Titles. Yes. Where's my... This is alphabetical. Is it not a settings? Hold on, let me reboot. Okay, look, I am very happy with that actually. File. Yeah. Hey, where's the setting for this? Because I'd like to be more explicit. File Explorer plugin. Forked from... Oh, no settings, just go. Also replaces... Wait. Okay, so I think they didn't update the docs because there definitely is no settings yet. But that's fine. So to test out my theory then, inbox is currently taking from the H1 header. If I delete that, now that has nowhere to go. And theoretically, it should now update on the sidebar as my test title. Huh? Test. Reload. Ooh, what happened? That's funky. I was not expecting that. Why is inbox disappeared from the sidebar? Oh, is it because... Oh, hang on. Oh, I'll be a monkey's uncle if that's the reason. I think it's because of the alias. Nope. LeeCat here. Seems like I'm using a similarly used plugin. Am I? File recovery. Okay, let me go back. Community. File. I've hot reload. Maybe title. No. This should be right. But it means that something's buggy with this plugin. But I like the direction it's going as far as I'm aware. So if I disable this now, everything should go back to normal. File, disable, unable to load plugin file explorer titles. That's fine. Close, reload. Everything should jump back to normal. There we go. Now the inbox is. Okay, I liked the direction that was going though, because it's nice to change up how Obsidian is rendering the titles in a way that's not limited by your operating system's illegal characters and that kind of stuff. So that's good to know that that was a thing. So that's one. So again, I think once they fix up some of those bugs and actually have, I think the ability to configure actually is important, because if we look at the docs for it, it says right here that it'll resolve as like either the title field in the front matter, the first alias in front matter, or the first header in the note. And so one, I hope that's in some sort of chronological order, that like title takes the most priority, then first alias, then the header. That'd be great if that's what it's doing. But more importantly, letting me turn it off and remove that from the sort of build order would be very nice. So you can see here that we can now replace it with the actual pretty print of the week, which I'm super nice, which is great. I just think it just needs to be a little bit cleaner from an implementation perspective. Okay, so that was cool. All right, let's go back to 00021. Wait a second. What happened? Wait. Oh, I have two notes right now. I have a conflicted copy. This is something I've noticed recently that I've been having issues with. Why is it doing a conflicted copy on the sync? These two are not identical, so this one is gone. And this one is also irrelevant. Now I should only have 121. Great. Why did it have conflicted copies? I think something's going on with syncing. Anyways, that's another problem for me to solve another time. Okay, so we've taken a look at that file explorer note, like where that's going. The next one we're talking about here is the update time on edit Obsidian. And so the way this works is that basically you tell it in the front matter what front matter you want it to update, and then it would theoretically update those things. So for example, as you can see here, right now I have a created and an updated field. And so assuming it hooks correctly, it will go ahead inside and then update this front matter directly. For those of you who've been following me for a little bit, you know this has been like a problem I have not had the time to figure out how to automate. So I was super excited when I found this plugin. The only problem is I have been trying to use it for about a couple of days now. And the author is very, very clear about this, that this is an early version. So I think when it's a little bit more mature, it'll be more stable. But I found it, always I knew the design with this plugin, if it really was responsible for whenever updates are made to a file to then update the front matter, so it was like saved in it was saved properly, is that I don't think it knows how to, at least from what I've seen, it doesn't know how to differentiate between a user updated thing. So like if I go in and add text to it, that to me is a proper update that would designate like the updated field being changed. However, if Obsidian is going in to like do some cleanup or do some formatting, that kind of thing, that to me is not necessarily the same thing, right? Like I want it to be updated when the user updates it. And so I will say my knowledge of Obsidian's lifecycle hooks are still rather limited, but I would think that that's basically the only time you'd want the update thing to really trigger is when the user has done something different. Because otherwise, automated pieces like formatting, that kind of thing, to me doesn't really matter in the hierarchy of things, because that's more like administrative like cleanup. Whereas someone adding data, someone deleting data, that's worth noting because that's the last time you touched the file as opposed to the computer touching the file. So this is why this plugin is still not quite there for me just yet. I think until we find a way to distinguish that, it will be kind of tricky to deal with. So again, this is one of those things where I'm excited for it once it's a little bit more mature. All right, so Obsidian typing plugin. This one I'm also excited for, but it is once again one of those. You know what? This whole episode has been just about like exploring early phase things. So this, by the way, apparently they say that when you want something to exist, you just manifest it and just like keep talking about it. Obsidian typing, it seems to be the manifestation of the Obsidian schema plugin that I was saying, like I was really hoping someone would do. In that basically you tell Obsidian that there are going to be specific types of notes, and then it gives you the ability to actually like have an actual structure to it. And so here we can see that there will be types here with the schema, and then it's defined via YAML. And so I haven't taken it for a spin because the last time I did something experimental like a day ago, it broke a ton of my files and I was not ready for that. So, but I like the fact that I will be 100% keeping an eye on this for sure. Okay. So that's all I wanted to mention about this. So again, this is one of those things I'll be keeping an eye on. Actually, let me just start on GitHub. So Shabagam in the chat. So talking about that would be a pretty tricky problem to solve. I don't think there is an easy way to differentiate between user edits and a system. Maybe listen for typing events. Yeah. So, okay, if I'm not mistaken, right, I'm 90% sure that Obsidian has a lifecycle hook for like when a file is saved. So I believe data view, for example, is utilizing that to like trigger a re-render of their like queries, so that when someone updates a table, it actually, if you have an existing table open already, it will update said table. So that hook I know exists, and that makes sense because on that you have the automatic save. The thing I think, at least pulling on the JavaScript knowledge that I currently have, my guess is that if I were to differentiate between the lifecycle hooks, it probably would be like, one, the user has to actually be focused on the tab. So because we do track leaflets in Obsidian, so as long as the leaflet is in focus, and then there's been an actual change, I guess key up or key, like some sort of copy, like, because again, I'm looking for data change. And maybe other people would disagree with me. Perhaps people think that like if the file has been touched, that counts as an update. For me, I think the most use, like if we're talking about linked thinking as a philosophy, to me, notes are useful when you actually touch them, right? When you actually open them up. Otherwise, if your query is like, because there are writing software to help you with things like, show me the things that I've opened recently. Show me things that I haven't opened recently. And so if we're considering the last modified date then to merely be computer touching things, it will always look like something's being updated when it actually hasn't been. So I don't know if this hook exists already. But I would think it would be important to differentiate between a user intended change versus an automated change. So yeah, to your point, it probably is a combination of some sort of typing focus event that triggers like, hey, okay, so we know for sure now that has been changed. Yeah. Yep. Okay, great. So I'm glad to see we're on the same page as far as that goes. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I know it's a tricky thing, but I do think solving that problem could be important I don't know. If there could be a specific hook for like a file that has been edited because it's been focused, that would be great. Brainstorming though, API idea. So if that, probably much more complicated to implement than we're sort of brainstorming here, but anyhow. Okay, so we talked about that. And so here's the one that I think we'll hopefully be able to play with today, which is the Obsidian MetaEdit plugin. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. So browse. MetaEdit. All right. This one looks pretty promising to me. So from what I can tell here, the idea of it is that you're allowed to update the YAML and data view properties, like fields, with ease. And so there's even like scrapers, suggesters, and this is a bit of automation that I think would be incredibly helpful for a lot of the things I do. So let's go ahead and let's give them a star, but more importantly, let's install it. So now we have MetaEdit installed. It's working. Okay. So if I look at MetaEdit here, great, that's here. There are settings here. Let's take a look at what settings I have. Update properties automatically, auto properties, quickly switch values for values you know of, ignore properties, edit mode, come on board helper UI elements. Okay, so I don't want to turn any of this on yet because I don't know what any of it does. So what's up, Fahad? Okay, so couple of things. So one, let's figure out what the run MetaEdit. Okay, let's run MetaEdit. Ooh, hey, what's this? So that's like refresh, delete. Okay, it shows me all of the metadata properties I have, which is kind of nice. So if I click on status, ooh, new values for okay. New value for status. So again, I wish I could have I could do like status complete. Okay, hold on, let's see if this works. Hang on. So let's see, status is empty right now. Okay, so let's try this. So MetaEdit. Oh man, this is interesting. Okay, if I can do status and I do status in progress, hit enter. Hey, I like this. This is good. Okay. So now that this is a thing, this would make my life much easier rather than scrolling and looking for metadata. So hey, this is good. Can I do Command Shift M? What's Command Shift M? Conflicts with open monthly note. All right, is Command M something? Ooh, Command M is empty. Ooh, okay. So if I do MetaEdit, then I can go series. Ooh, this is good. All right, Shabagam in the chat endorsing MetaEdit. This is awesome. Okay, so update properties automatically. I don't know how this would work though. How would it update? Okay, auto properties. Maybe this is one. Quick switch for values you know of. Okay, so if I turn this on, I come in, so I can add this, and I can say property name status values. Oh, okay, hang on. Status, okay, let's say to do, and then we have status in progress, status blocked, status complete. Okay, so now I don't think this will work the way I think it does. I have a theory why. So if I do Command M, I hit status, go here, did not work because it interprets this entire thing as the metadata. So that was my theory, and it looks like I'm about to be proven correct. So for these, I can look in here. This is the metadata here officially. This get these values. So now if I try this again and update status, there we go. Now everything is fully defined. And I like this a lot because it allows you to basically, like, tags were very good for autocomplete, but sometimes I wanted a limited set of autocomplete tags for a certain metadata. It would be nice if I could be a little bit more specific because my status is changed depending. Well, anyways, this is nice. This is really nice. Okay, so let's say that's good. So auto properties is good. So basically you can complete it with things that you're used to. That is very, very exciting. So this is basically some schema. Hide properties from the menu. Okay, so these are like things where, like, you know commonly that these properties you're never ever going to change. That's fine. But what is this auto update property though? This is where I'm a little interested. Type completed task total tasks. What is this? All right, diving into the docs. So we see here that you can create new properties. You can even add colors. All right, let's read this through. Add data view properties easily. Okay, so that should be as easy as I think it is. So if I'm down here and I'm like new data view property, test property, it dropped it. Oh, did I need to finish it? New data view property, so test property, test value, enter. Oh, it actually tells me where it wants me to insert it. Interesting. That was a little bit weird, but okay. New YAML property, test 2021, and then test 2021 was put at the top. Okay, not too bad. Okay, so then interesting. So now that we have that, ignore properties, that's fine. Auto properties have through a suggester, great. Multi-value mode allows you to vectorize, create arrays, fine. Progress properties that allows work with total task, complete task, incomplete task. So this must be the automated piece that Shabagam is mentioning here. Okay, so theoretically then, let's say we wanted to actually see what's remaining. So in my about section, if I were to enhance this, I might say tasks remaining like this. So if I think I understand this correctly, transforms to YAML data view. Okay. Yeah, but it already is transformed. I don't understand. What was that? What did I do? I don't think I did anything. Okay. So tasks remaining. So if I come in here, update these properties automatically. Sure. I will do tasks remaining as the data view property and then incomplete tasks. Okay. So I close that and pretty view it. Did that do anything? No. Oh, okay. Maybe tasks remaining. Oh, run metadata? MetaEdit? Nope, that's not it. Tasks remaining. Enter. Oh, wait. Enter new value. Oh, wait. Okay, it did do it. It did do it. I see cog sides here from the chat. Hello. You actually should install hotkey helper plugin and plug in changelogs. Okay, hang on. Let's take a look at that. So we are experimenting now. So you're saying there is a hotkey helper plugin. Easily see and access plugin settings or hotkey assignments from the community plugins tab. Okay, so how is this? Yep. Oh, that's super cool. Okay, clutch recommendation here from, let's see. So if we look in here, check this out. Advanced tables. You can see all the hotkeys that are assigned specifically to it. That's a great UI layer. Okay, awesome. Let's shout out here. Let's see. Shout out to cog size on the recommendation for hotkey helper plugin. I'll see Obsidian. There you go. And then the other one you mentioned, since that one worked so well, let's also check out the changelog one. Community plugins. Check for not what I wanted. Changelog plugin. All right, so plugin changelogs. Maintain a changelog of your recently edited files. This is a simple plugin that chains recently edited files can be triggered automatically. Note that everything in the will be overwritten. It's best used to dedicate and embed it in other notes. I mean, both of these are interesting, so this is good. So I obviously want the plugin changelogs. This is excellent. So for example, if we're looking for the latest that happened inside of any one of these, so now we can say, hey, inside of advanced table, what's happened? Hey, we can look at that, previous release. Oh, this is great. You can pick the specific version. I love the community for stuff like this. And then also plugin changelog. Let's see. Obsidian plugin changelog plugin changelog plugin. Yeah, that's not a tongue twister at all. But the other one actually I thought was interesting in the lieu of talking about plugins was the Vault changelog. This one looks interesting to me. It's not as used, but it kind of needs to see what you've recently edited it. Manual installation, how to use. Okay, we'll take a look at this another time. I know that wouldn't necessarily solve a problem that I have. So, all right, we have time. One more clutch recommendation here. It seems supercharged links. Oh, this one's popular. So this one here allows us to add attributes. Oh, snap. This is, yep, So you're saying category, people, what? And then it knows to do this? Oh, snap. This is very cool. Okay, so supercharged links, clearly this one needs to be like a dedicated section because I would be more than happy to edit some CSS and HTML to make this possible. Ah, this is great. So hold up here. What are we doing? We're going to do, let's see, Hotkey Helper, this plugin. Okay, so the Obsidian Supercharge link plugin. But here's what we're going to do more specifically because this one needs a dedicated, not the hotkey one. I want this one. All right, this one is, okay, this is an app because it's basically a plugin. Status is currently in to-do mode. It was recommended by, let's see, Cog Sides, great. And then, oh, you know what? Instead of to-do, I think I usually, actually, I'm currently doing it as an idea. And then the platform I want to recommend it by, actually, I need to change that real quick. Platform block template, it is no S. Take that out. And then the platform is Obsidian. So this will let me quit. So if you're wondering why, this is where I layer on just enough metadata. We're going forward in the future. I'm looking for things about Obsidian that I have ideas that I want to look into. This lets me sort of get in and research it without adding too much more. So this is great. And then Shabagam here. Awesome. Okay. So actually the buttons plugin that you mentioned, funny enough, is something that has been on my radar, but I hadn't really had the time to really dive into it. But I heard good things about it. Let's see. Buttons by Sam's Morrison, it looks like. Well, touche. Well done, well done. Sam, thank you so much for hanging out. Honestly, funny enough, I actually am being honest. Buttons has been on my list for quite some time now. So let's see. Buttons. Oh, okay. Not that. Bum. Template. All right. Inline buttons, swap buttons. Okay, we need a whole episode on buttons. And then Sam, actually, if you're looking to create a doc site for this, that is something I would be interested in working with you on. Because obviously I've heard a lot of really good things, Sam, about the plugin, and the README here is helpful, but I know we could probably design a pretty darn good doc site for the button plugin. So let me go ahead. Let me start this. And then now, funny enough, so I can do, let's see, button, Obsidian, button. Oh, do I already have a note for this? I do. See, I was not joking with you. And this is also why, by the way, for those who've been watching, this is why I mentioned why creating a new node is a subpar option to always trying to open a node. Because I assure you, I would have created a new button plugin note, but clearly at some point, and not even at some point, check this out. Way back in May 2021, I had already heard of this and had thought about it, but this is where sometimes you just gotta improve a little bit. I didn't do the best of jobs in terms of making sure I could track it. So I just need to make sure that status here is now in idea. Platform here is just gonna be Obsidian. I think that's all I really need for this. Yes. Well, I don't know, but we certainly did get inspired, didn't we? Yeah. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. Open this. This is a person note. So we're going to switch this out. I believe Sam. Excellent. So that's not what I wanted. Anyways, Sam, I believe actually though, just because I have other Sams as well inside of here. Oh wait, browse buttons, Morrison. That's what I thought. Okay. Sam Morrison, although dang it, I just forgot the last names. Double R, no double S. Okay. And then your alias is here. Oh, I lost it. Whatever. And then boom. Okay. Inspired by Sam. Look into button plugin again soon. All right, excellent, Sam. So I'll hit you, I guess, via Discord, and then let's set something up because again, been meaning to really supercharge some of my workflows with the ability to configure things to buttons. Because, golly, I've been trying to do as much as I can with Templater to do some, regex things and automate some of that, but buttons would be super helpful, so I wouldn't have to recreate it every single time. And so for people watching this and wondering what I'm talking about, here's a perfect example where I think a button would be helpful for me. So every time I'm doing Obsidian Office Hours, I have to basically create a brand new episode, right? So, and as you can see here, I have it's numbered, and I'm there's totally a way for us to track this, but every time I have to check to be it's 22, and then I have to set up the template with a specific way. It'd be great if I just came onto this and then I'm like, oh, new episode, click new episode. It's automatically incremented to 22. It's already set up for me to fill out. That's what I want to do. So that's an example of how the button would be helpful for me rather than writing a bunch of scripts. So that's that. Okay. So, okay, very cool. It looks like the MetaEdit plugin is working exactly as we expect. So Cogside's here mentioning that you can change front matter properties from outside of the node. So you can right click on the link and select its properties. All right, bet, let's try it. So Obsidian Office Hours 21. What Cogside is saying here is that we could right click this up and then search for Roundup, extract current selection. I don't see the link and select properties. Maybe it's because, oh wait, this is an actual link. Let me do an internal link. All right, so let's try, actually, Cogsides, here we go. That did not work. MetaEdit, nope, that didn't. Cogsides, manual. Maybe it's because I'm in live preview mode. It doesn't look like the right click is working here. So again, if you're catching the stream late, I'm currently in live preview mode from the insider build 0.13.1. And so some of the things might be working a little funnily. So take whatever I'm seeing for a grain of salt. I'm definitely living a bit on the bleeding edge at the moment with this stuff. Although, why is this not rendering correctly? That's correct. That was weird. Okay, there you go. Much prettier. All right, so we have done that. We've done that. Check, check. And yeah. Wow, what a day. What a day. The one thing I actually did want to check real quick. MetaEdit was able to... So look, it has all the stuff. So updated update, new value for updated. So I wonder how much we can script it. And what do I mean by that? I mean, can MetaEdit let me configure a hotkey for a specific property to update? Because that would be cool. No, that is not available. That's totally fine. Edit mode, single properties are just one value, multi-array, all or whatever. Click button. All properties are arrays. One value. Interesting. Specified in settings, click button. Okay, I think I understand that. Basically, it's saying that when you're editing, you can have things that are multiple options versus just the one. I'm not too concerned about that right now, so I'm not going to worry about it. Ignoring properties would be great. So for example, actually, here's an example of what something I would ignore. I don't need it to ever modify the created at date. So if this works the way I think it did, then when I come in here, yeah, created is gone. Updated is still here, but the created date is something I need it to be fixed. And in fact, actually, I don't ever need to modify the UUID either. So these are properties I would want to ignore. So for me, ignored properties are for things you want to protect, things you want to accidentally change. If there's a chance you want to change it, then yeah, sure, don't bother ignoring it. But otherwise, yeah, that's that. Well, it has been an exciting Obsidian Office Hours today. Huge thanks to Sam, Cogsides, and especially LeeCat for stopping by, helping to debug, and more importantly, let me know that the 13.1 was live so we could basically do live testing in front of everyone to see how it's going. Honestly, it's been a really informative session for myself, so I hope y'all learned something as well as we went through it. And more importantly, we have a ton more information to dive into going forward. So now I have a bunch of material to kind of look over. And so, yeah, I think next week, honestly, I'm just going to call it. We're going to look into buttons. We're going to look into Obsidian buttons because I do think there's a lot of hidden value there that I have yet to tap into. And I think if we can open that up for people, that'll be really big for people's Obsidian systems. With that said, thanks again, Sam, for all your help. It's been great chatting with you. Yes, Cogsites, thank you so much for hanging out. It's been an absolute pleasure. And that said, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with everyone today. If you want to follow up on the streaming schedule, you can go to bencozen.io/schedule, and that will give you all the latest updates as far as when I'm speaking and that kind of stuff. But otherwise, once again, you can find me on all the things on the internet at bencozen. And otherwise, thanks again, everyone, for hanging out. It's been an absolute blast. Hope you all have a wonderful day and a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.